Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR Halacha. And here's a brand new halacha for you, and it's for Friday, 23rd day of July, and the 14th day of Av. That means I have some special things to tell you about this upcoming Shabbos. It's going to be the 15th of Av, and like I started to explain to you yesterday, a lot of very special things happened on this 15th of Av. That's this Shabbos, and I'm going to tell you about them as fast as I can now. So this Shabbos, it's going to be Shabbos Nachamu. Anyway, that's the Shabbos of comfort, where we read, it's after Tisha B'Av. You only read that special Haftorah that says Nachamu, Nachamu Ami. We should be comforted. It's also going to be 15th of Av, which is also a festive day, so it will feel like a very festive Shabbos compared to how we felt the week before when we were the Shabbos entering into Tisha B'Av. Now, what's so special about the 15th of Av? We gave you one reason yesterday. Here's a few more. Unfortunately, there was a terrible, terrible massacre in Beitar. It's one of the tragedies that happened on the 9th of Av, and the Romans killed many, many Jews in the area of Beitar. The conquerors piled up the bodies in a very, very strange situation where they surrounded one of the leaders in his garden, and he, in a very unusual way of thinking, thought that having Jewish bodies piled up all around his garden, making the wall of his garden Jewish bodies, was somehow like relaxing and wonderful to him. Imagine how wicked he must have been. And those bodies just remained there and they didn't have burial. The Jews begged for years for the right to be able to bury the Jewish bodies and give them the honor they deserved. And for a number of years, that right was not granted. Finally, on the 15th of Av, years later, the right was granted and the Jews were able to bury those bodies. That already made it a very special occasion. And secondly, they found an unbelievable miracle, which is not one of those thousands of bodies had decomposed. That is an unbelievable miracle. And that was all like on the 15th of Av. Could you imagine how special? I know it stemmed from a tragedy, but it still felt like a very special message from God that such an enormous miracle happened, and it all came about on the 15th of Av. You may or may not know this, but it's based on that miracle that we added a fourth bracha to benching, which we say forever now, and it's the bracha of Hatov HaMeitiv, based on this incident that I'm telling you about, when all those bodies were found and freed for burial, and not one of them had decomposed. And that happened on the 15th of Av. Okay, now a couple more that I'll be able to say more quickly. The 15th of Av also marks a time when the summer nights begin to start becoming longer, which gives us more availability to learn Torah through the night. That is an opportune time to learn Torah. So that's a reason for happiness. Also, historically, there had been, unfortunately, sentries put on the roads barring the people of the north of Israel from coming to the Beis Hamikdash. That was due to some wicked activities of some earlier people who do not want people from the north of Israel coming to the Beis Hamikdash when it was time to see the Beis Hamikdash on the 3 Yom Tovs. So the king Hoshea was able to remove all of that on the 15th of Av during his reign, and that, of course, was a very happy thing. Also, it's a time when the cutting of the wood that would be piled up, massive amounts of wood for all of the uses of the Mizbeach throughout the altar of the temple throughout the whole year, that cutting ended on the 15th of Av, and that was also marked a very special celebration. Also, there had been a disastrous incident once when, due to the incident called Pilegesh Begiva, which we won't have time to discuss now, the tribe of Binyamin was ostracized because there were people from the Shevet of Binyamin who had killed a concubine in the infamous story of Pilegesh Begiva, and the Jewish people had kind of ostracized the Shevet of Binyamin, the tribe of Binyamin, and not allowed other Shavatim to join in marriage with the Shevet of Binyamin. Finally, years later, on the 15th of Av, this decree was nullified. Another reason for the great celebration of the 15th of Av. And lastly, in the time of the desert, if there were ever daughters like the daughters of Tzalafchad, who were orphans and had no brothers, and they had an inheritance that couldn't pass to another tribe, they weren't allowed to marry into any other tribe. because the inherited lands of Israel would then end up going from one tribe to another, and it wasn't supposed to be arranged that way. So they had to not allow those kinds of young ladies in that situation to marry anyone but people of their shevet, their tribe, which was difficult for them. It minimized their availability of who to marry. And years later, on the 15th of Av, this arrangement was nullified, and that too was a source of great happiness. Okay, so that was a lot of information very quickly. Those are some of the reasons why Tu B'Av, the 15th of Av, that's this Shabbos, is considered such a festive time. Thanks for logging on, and log on again tomorrow after Shabbos for more. And we'll see you on the other side of Shabbos. Have a great Shabbos, a great Shabbos Nachamu. Make it meaningful. Don't just party. But people do celebrate a lot on Shabbos Nachamu and on the 15th of Av. But make it meaningful. Have a great Shabbos. Bye bye.